If you're a cyclist in Toronto, chances are you've used one of the many bike lanes throughout the city, but not all designs are meant to be used the same way. Toronto Traffic Services says some people aren't using certain lanes correctly, and it's not just cars making the mistake.
The confusion is both on the side of the driver and on the side of the cyclist.
At Richmond and Victoria, there's no shortage of cyclists using this dedicated lane to get around downtown. Watch the turning cars and you see most of them staying in their lane until it's clear to go. But Toronto Traffic Services says that's wrong.
And the reality is this is actually a shared lane, and it is a shared lane between a bike and a car.
But I did not know that.
We sat here for more than an hour watching car after car avoid the bike lane when turning right. Only a handful venturing in. But Constable Clint Stibbe says right-turning vehicles should be entering the green bike lane when they look like this.
What you see in this particular situation is a broken line, basically from some distance back. This is an area where that vehicle actually should be coming into this lane and then pinching the curb, causing the cyclist to now go around the outside or left side of that vehicle.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question? We quizzed cyclists on the rules of the road relating to these green lanes, and many had no idea they'd been doing it all wrong.
I believe that this means people can't turn. The drivers can't turn if it's a green lane.
It's actually the opposite.
Oh.
I have like a vested interest in bike safety in Toronto, and I didn't know that.
I don't do that.
Did you know that was a thing?
No.
I'm just going to talk to him for a sec.
Constable Stibbe says the reason cars are supposed to enter the lane here is to create a safer environment for cyclists to pass them on the left.
This truck here should have actually been up against the curb, and he didn't turn his lights on until he was almost at the corner. But the reality is now he's created a right hook situation, and a cyclist that's coming through now is actually put in jeopardy because of that car making the turn.
But cyclists we spoke to weren't convinced by that rationale.
It's too dangerous.
At least here we have our own lane. If I go into their lane, I'm putting myself more like at risk.
Yeah. Others say even if the intention is more safety, the design is flawed.
It's so confusing.
Is it confusing?
They got to make them all the same.
Signage is probably useful, and in general, just having more bike lanes that are not marked green would be ideal. I think if people are not aware of what that means, then it just poses an even greater risk.
Constable Stibbe admits it can be confusing, but that's why he says education is key.
From block to block, in some cases, those intersections are set up differently. The reality is everybody has been browbeaten into saying that this is a bike lane and nobody's permitted to be in this lane. But you have to be an informed driver, cyclist, and pedestrian in the city to help minimize the types of conflict that we normally do see and help reduce the number of fatalities that we see on our roads.
Now, a poll released earlier this week found that 2/3 of Torontonians don't feel the city is safe for cyclists.